All right, MMA fans, this is Tudor Leonte for Sherdog here, and today I have the pleasure to talk with the one and only, the Jefe, Jeff Molina. Hello, Jeff, and how are you?
Hey, brother. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm fine as well. Thanks for asking. So you scored an impressive TKO victory over Daniel Silva at a recent UFC event. Let's talk about that. How do you feel?
I feel good, man. I feel good. It was the type of performance I wanted. My debut, I felt like was a pretty off night for me. I feel like it was not my best performance, and honestly, probably one of my worst performances. That being said, I'll take it for what it was. I got fight of the night that night in Jacksonville on a card that had 3 title fights. So I learned a lot from that fight, man. I got 15 minutes of cage time, which at a high level is very, very valuable. So again, not happy with the performance in my debut, but I took it for what it was. But this performance is what I wanted. I wanted to come out here and get a clean kill. I wanted a performance of the night type fight. I didn't get the bonus this time. That's a different discussion. I thought I earned that.
I will ask about that.
But it's the type of performance I wanted, man. For fight of the night, it means the fight has to be competitive. And when a fight's competitive, that means you're taking your fair share of brain damage. And I'm young. I don't want to be, no knock to Chase Hooper, but I don't want to be the Chase Hooper of the flyweight division. I don't want to be the young kid that comes in here and gets hit a lot every fight. I know what I'm capable of. My coaches know what I'm capable of. And this type of performance was just a small piece of that. It was me getting to show that I'm good everywhere. I feel like for a while it was Jeff Molina's a striker. Jeff Molina's a striker. And that bothered me a lot. I've been doing mixed martial arts since I was 14.
You also have 4 submission victories, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I've been doing mixed martial arts since I was 14. I didn't start in a certain discipline. I didn't start in karate or Muay Thai or kickboxing. I started in MMA. So I've been doing every facet of the sport. I wrestled in high school. I've been doing jiu-jitsu tournaments. I've done kickboxing fights, Muay Thai fights. And then when I was finally 18, I could do MMA. So there was this stigma that I was a striker. And I feel like on Saturday, I got to show that I'm good everywhere. And I only get better I get better every fight. I get better every day, man. I'm in the gym every day. So I think Saturday was a good showing of me being a problem for people in this division. And I really do feel like one day I will be the champion of 125. And I don't care if that's 2 years down the road, 3 years, 5 years down the road, when I'm 30. I just feel like one day I'm going to hold that strap around my waist.
Did you feel more comfortable inside the octagon this time?
To be honest, it kind of felt the same. I felt like I was pretty comfortable in the debut. It just it was an off night. The comfortability didn't have anything to do with my performance. It was just I just wasn't there.
I mean, I can
not to make excuses.
No worries, no worries.
Cage time's valuable, like I said earlier. So I didn't really feel more comfortable in there. I've kind of, it sounds almost cliche, but I've kind of always felt comfortable in there, like in the chaos, like for Contender Series, for the debut, for this fight, it kind of feels the same. So I don't think I was more comfortable in there. I just gotten better, man. I just gotten better, and I know what I'm capable of, and I just think that had my performance on Saturday was showing that.
I was asking, since it happens to all fighters, even to the best ones, to feel a little bit of pressure when they make their UFC debut. I was curious to know if for you was that kind of situation where when you debuted in the UFC, you debuted also on a big pay-per-view card, perhaps there was a little bit too much pressure on your shoulders, even though, we're talking about a victory for you. So it's just, to pick up the details. And whereas this time perhaps you felt a little bit more comfortable. You already knew the arena, you already knew the cage, since you competed inside the same arena when you fought on the Dana White Contender Series.
Yeah, and I'm not offended by that at all. Like, you're right, it's just the details. In my debut and the talk with Joe Rogan afterwards, a little interview, I said the jitters are real. I'm not sure exactly if I really meant that. I was pretty concussed at the end of that fight. Like, kind of a lot of that's a blur. I think I said that just to kind of say that. But I don't think I had the jitters in the debut either, man. You're right. Like, every fight you're going to get more comfortable in there. But I've been doing this for the last decade of my life, and I feel pretty comfortable in the chaos, man. I think that's one of my biggest strong points in the sport is it almost goes hand in hand with fight IQ, but just kind of I'm pretty comfortable in the chaos, and I found my happy medium pretty early. I think I was like 17 when I finally started to like. I remember I had a kickboxing fight where like it clicked. I'm like, okay, this is how I need to show up on fight night. This is like and that translated to sparring, and that translating to how I am in the gym. Just that type of mentality. And comfortability you have to have while fighting. It's something I've been doing for a couple of years, I guess. But I wouldn't say I felt more comfortable in there Saturday than I did in the debut or that I did in Contender Series. I think I felt just as comfortable.
Let's talk a little bit about the fight itself. Your opponent starts strong with some heavy kicks. How much did you feel that in the beginning of the fight?
Yeah, we knew he was going to start like that. We knew, I think he only been out of the first round once. We knew he's very aggressive, standing up. And then obviously he's slick off his back, a black belt in jiu-jitsu, a high level black belt in jiu-jitsu. Yeah, we kind of expected that. We've been working on it all camp. One of my main training partners, Mohamed Zwolak, he's a southpaw. I pretty much had him throw body kicks and head kicks at me for 12 weeks straight from the open stance. It's never really been a problem for me dealing with the kicks, but just to make sure, right? That was my insurance. It was like I had this guy throwing kicks at me for 12 weeks straight every time while we were drilling and working together. So it was expected, man. I feel like actually exactly how this fight went down was pretty expected. You don't want to go into a fight expecting too much, right? It's almost like you want to expect the unexpected in a fight just because there's so many variables, man. The sport's so fucking crazy. Like,
yeah,
the margin of error is so small, Tudor, that like with 4-ounce gloves on, anything can happen, and we see it every weekend. So we expected it, but we were expecting the unexpected. But the fight went pretty almost to a T, man. Like, me and my coach were talking about this just the other day. Like, dude, the fight went like exactly how we thought it was going to go down. So, yeah, not too surprised by the aggressiveness right off the gate.
You mentioned in the post-fight interview that your practice rooms are tougher than the fight you had. So I have to ask you here, and you also mentioned some things that during your practice sessions, but please tell us what's going on in practice at Glory MMA at this point.
Tudor, man, we have a bunch of savages at the gym, man. People you haven't heard of yet, people that will be in the UFC in the next year or two. We have, I think, about 12 or 13 UFC guys in the gym. We're a small gym in Missouri. It's nothing pretty out there. We don't have beaches. We don't have nice weather. The winters suck, but it's dirty, hard work. And man, our practices are hard. They're tough. They make you want to quit. I said that in the post-fight interview that like we swim in deep waters because we're in deep waters every day, or if not every other day. Like our harder practices are Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. They're just harder than ones on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That doesn't mean the ones on Tuesdays and Thursdays are easy. They're just the harder ones. And man, like, you learn how to fight tired. You know how to go to that dark place. You're almost comfortable in that dark place. And I feel like a lot of people aren't. I feel like my opponent wasn't on Saturday. I felt like he was ready to give after that first round. And then that's kind of a mantra at our gym. We call it the 501 rule. Everybody can be good for 5 minutes. Everybody, especially athletes. Everybody can look really good for 5 minutes. But 501, we're on that ass. That's kind of our mantra of the gym is like, and James said that to me in between rounds. He said, look at him. He's juiced. 501. And it was true, man. Like it's 5 minutes and 1 second into the fight. Let's see how you show up. And I know I can fight tired. I did it in my debut. I'm comfortable being there. I don't want to be there, but if you want to, I'll grab your hand and take you to the deep end of the water and let's see who drowns first. Something my coach, James, says is like, you don't have to outrun the bear. You just got to outrun the person next to you. And I feel like everybody at our gym does a really good job. Win, lose, or draw, you fought with somebody from our gym. You're not going to leave walking the same way you walked in there. Win, lose, or draw. And it's just it's how we train. It's what happens in the practice room. That's what comes out into fights. And it's not just the practice room, it's the coaches. It's James Krause. He's the head coach, and the environment and team he's created is second to none, man. And in my opinion, he's the best coach in the world. Granted, I'm a little biased, but man, this past weekend we had 3 homegrown fighters from Glory MMA on a UFC card. Homegrown. We weren't
That's
Usman.
amazing.
That was a world champion, and then Trevor Whitman got his hands on him. He was already a world champion when Whitman got his hands on him. I was 1-2 as a pro. I was 19 years old, making stupid decisions in the fight game. I had 3 pro fights in 3 months as a 19-year-old kid that was undefeated as an amateur, just making silly decisions, didn't have anyone looking out for me. James took me from a 1-2 pro to a non-fight win streak, now 2-0 in the UFC. Grant Dawson, co-main event, Saturday night. Didn't get the win, but didn't get the loss either, right? It was a draw, but he was co-main event. He's 5-0 in the UFC. Close fight. 5-0 in the UFC. 5-0-1, I guess I should say down. But he's homegrown too. He came to James 0-0 as a pro. David Onama came to James as an amateur MMA fighter, and now he's in the UFC. Took a fight on 3 days' notice, up a weight class. David's someone that's not really a big 45er and definitely a very, very, very undersized 55er. But he's a dog, man, and showed that by winning a round against Mason Jones on Saturday. So that alone, 3 UFC fighters sharing the same card from the same gym, homegrown, just is another example of what James Krause has created out in Missouri.
Before we move to the second round of your fight, where we scored that impressive TKO finish, I noticed that at the end of the first frame, you and your opponent went kind of head to head. And I was curious to know if it was just the adrenaline of the moment or if there was any bad blood between the two of you.
Yeah. I think that's just adrenaline, man. In a fight, man, like, you're trying to knock me out in front of my mom, like my mom's watching this and I'm trying to do the same to you, man. So it's nothing nice in there. Outside of the fight, man, I'll buy you a beer. Like we can go hang out before the fight after the fight, but in there, man, like all is fair in love and war. So I'm not too sure what that was about. I honestly didn't remember that until you just mentioned it. But yeah, I think that's just adrenaline, man. Like you're in a fist fight. This guy's trying to hurt you. You're trying to hurt him. And it's just the heat of the moment type of thing. It's no disrespect, much respect to Daniel. He's a great fighter, man. He deserves to be in the UFC. His only loss prior to me was from shoulder injury in a fight that he was winning. So he belongs here, man. So nothing but respect for Daniel. But nothing nice while we're in there, man. Like it's kill or be killed, and it just wasn't going to be me on Saturday.
In the second round, you touched him with a very heavy right punch and dropped him on the canvas, and then you went on to pour a rain of punches of him until the referee stopped the contest. what was going through your mind at that moment, when you entered in the second stanza and when you caught him with that shot?
It was just kind of finish what you started in round one. It was like I felt like he was breaking towards the end of that first. So it was just to go out there and fight. Like when you're out there, it's you're not really thinking. You're just kind of going off of instinct. If you're thinking while you're in a fight, you're at a disadvantage. You should just be going off of instinct, and that's why you train. So it becomes muscle memory. So for me, it was just to go out there and fight. And I made the read. Just from that same punch I caught him with, I hit my training partner with 20 minutes before the fight on accident. Obviously, I didn't mean to hurt him, but after the fight, my training partner told me, he's like, dude, when you hit me with that, I saw a flash inside my head, which means I clipped him pretty good. And I felt so bad. While I was warming up. I said, I'm so sorry. I said, no, you're good. You're good. He's like, no, it didn't hit me that hard. But then after the fight, he's like, dude, you hit me so hard. But it was the same thing. We were just warming up, and he threw a kick with no setup, and I saw it coming. And that blitz cross is I hit the same thing on a Richie Lang in my debut, except my setup for Richie Lang, we were close stance, so I circled him into it. I started going towards my right. He went to go cut me off, and I blasted Richie Lang and dropped him with it. In this fight, it was open stance. I'm primarily ortho. I switch a lot, but he's a southpaw. He threw the kick, and he was kicking a lot in the first round, so I already made that read. And this is something we worked on all camp, man. This is another thing that like I did 1,000 times in the last 12 weeks. Prior was like making the read on the kick, almost circling towards the kick to get him to kick you, and then just blitzing that cross, and it worked.
Thanks to your latest finish, you now feature an impressive 80% finish rate. How do you do that, man? You have 4 TKO finishes and 4 submission finishes. I mean, this is actually a question I ask several fighters who, like yourself, like to finish, their opponents, or, have that shining moment where they catch their opponents. How do you do that? I mean, is something that you prepare? Is something that is it just comes to your mind? Can you please put it in words? If you let's try at least.
Yeah, Tudor, I think it has to do with just my style. Again, I had my first fight at 15. It was a kickboxing fight. I was underage, and I had many fights from 15 to 18 until I started doing MMA. And it's just my style. I feel like my style is bonus friendly. It's entertaining. I mimic my style from Tim Elliott. Like Tim Elliott was a Kansas City guy, flyweight, someone I saw myself wanting to be like. And also James Krause, like another Kansas City guy that I not grew up, but like I watched him on TV when I was young, 15, 16 years old. And James used to go out there, throw cartwheel kicks. So I remember one time, this is before James was my coach, before I started training with him, he refereed one of my kickboxing fights. And I saw that he was going to be the referee. So I was like, dude, I got to throw a cartwheel kick in this fight. So I think in between I think it was like the second round, I threw a cartwheel kick just kind of as a homage to him. But man, it's always been my style. Like, I'm always looking.
Did you land it? Did you land it?
I did land it. I sure did. Oh. Yeah. Right. There you go. But I've known James since my very first kickboxing fight. I was 15 years old. I still had braces on my face. I have a picture with him after that fight, which is pretty cool. But it's just my style, man. Like I'm constantly looking to do damage from any position I'm in. I'm constantly looking to hurt you. So I don't care if you just took me down. I'm elbowing you off my back on my way to get up. I'm trying to open an Xbox logo on your forehead on my way up. You know, I'm trying to inflict damage from every possible position. And that's just my style. I'm not sure where that comes from, but it's entertaining. People want to watch it. Like if I was a fan, I'd want to watch myself. Like I appreciate people that have that type of style. And, you know, I mimic Tim a lot growing while in the sport young, and James and TJ Dillashaw was another one that they're just like dogs in there, man, that they're constantly looking to hurt you. And it's what people want to see. And it helps my paycheck too. It helped in the debut. It didn't, unfortunately, help in this last fight with the bonus, but the best is yet to come, man. I'm sure next time I'll leave no doubt.
What about that? Did you expect to receive the Performance of the Night honors this time as well?
Yeah. I'd be lying if I didn't say I thought I had a good chance, especially after watching the rest of the card. Like, I was watching the rest of the card and I was like, man, I think there's a real good chance that I'm going to get this. I thought the UFC would try to kind of market that a little bit. Like, man, this kid is coming off a fight of the night, just had a pretty impressive showing, and a dominant showing in a fight that had a high pace first round, a lot of submission attempts on the Silva's end. It was fast paced, good exchanges on the feet, good ground and pound on my end in that first round. So I thought that first round was entertaining. And then I put him away in the second with what could have been a walk-off KO. And I thought I had done enough. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not going to lie to you. I was pretty disappointed. I was talking to my manager and my teammates, and I was kind of bummed out. I'm over it now. I'm not going to cry over spilled milk, but I just didn't know exactly what I could have done different. I guess that's what bothered me, was like, I was trying to think in my head. I'm like, what exactly could I have done to get the bonus instead of somebody else? I thought Caceres deserved it. I thought Vittorio Costa should have got fight of the night, but I guess they didn't want to give any extra money to Costa. And then I thought Rodriguez looked good too, so he deserved it. I just I don't exactly know like what I could have done differently. Maybe I should have asked for it in the post fight, but my manager was like, "Man, don't do that. I hate when people do that." Like, I'm not too sure. It's whatever. I got my win bonus, and I'm sure down the line, I won't leave a doubt that I deserve that bonus.
I'm pretty sure you'll have plenty of occasions, considering that you have really a spectacular and highly entertaining fighting style. And before I let you go, there is one last topic I'd like to discuss with you. I heard on the broadcast that your father has been dealing with some health issues that prevented him from watching you competing live in your UFC debut, but he was Cageside, on your fight with Daniel da Silva. How is he feeling right now?
He's good, man. He's good. He's definitely better. Not to get into too many details, but he's still in pain a lot of the time, which is kind of a bummer, and kind of sucks to see your dad in pain, but he's better, and that's what's important. It was really, really cool to get to share this with him. He wanted to be at my debut pretty bad, but obviously couldn't because of medical reasons. So for him to be able to see his son compete in the UFC was really cool for him. He stressed that a lot in the last 2 days. I actually just took him to the airport yesterday. I'm still in Vegas myself, so we got to hang out with my dad a little bit in Vegas and kind of do touristy things and eat some good food, and it was really cool, man. It kind of that kind of meant the world to me, and it's awesome, man. Just because my folks have sacrificed so much for me in and out of this sport, so for them to kind of see it pay off in a way of like, man, now my kid's in the UFC, or my son's fighting at the highest level, fighting the best people in the world, and him getting to see it firsthand is pretty sweet, man.
I saw that touching moment at the end of your fight when you two hugged, outside the cage. May I ask, what did he tell you?
Yeah, it was just there's definitely a language barrier there. I speak Spanish. It's similar to Portuguese, but still different. So we were able to somewhat have a discussion, or at least a conversation. But it was just, man, nothing but respect. He our weigh-ins were kind of weird. He was mouthing off a little bit, saying like, "Let's go, baby!" Like, "Let's go," and was doing this thing with his hands. And I didn't take anything from that, man. But he didn't apologize. He just I guess he was trying to explain it. I'm like, dude, you don't got to explain anything to me. We were just in a fist fight, dude. Like, it doesn't matter to me. But it was just, mutual respect. It was like, I wished him the best in his UFC career. I think he's going to do very well, and I hope he does. And he kind of wished the same.
I apologize if I expressed myself poorly, but I meant the moment you shared with your father.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant my opponent.
No.
Yeah, that was really cool, man. That was really cool. I saw my dad when I was walking out, and I didn't want to think about that too much because I'm about to get into a fight, so my mind's kind of in fight mode. But I saw him. He's wearing I made t-shirts for this fight. It's the first fight I made t-shirts in. He was wearing my shirt, and he's got his phone out, and he's recording me. And security actually moved him to be able to like come record me walking out. So I saw him beforehand, and then afterwards, just seeing him like smiling and super giddy. It was really, really cool, man. And that little the UFC kind of got video or took a video of like the us embracing, and it was just really cool, man. Like that's something I'm gonna remember for the rest of my life.
Jeff, thank you very much for your time, for you sharing with us, your experience with for you sharing with us your experience today. And do you have any last message?
No, man. Thank you for having me, Tudor. This was fun. Just thank my coaches, James Krause, Jason High, Grant Dawson, Austin Ford, and then all my teammates at Glory MMA. And thank everyone that supports me, man.
Congratulations on your recent victory once again, and hopefully I will hear again from you in the future.
Thank you, brother. Look forward to it.
Have a nice day. Bye.